From the city of Brockville, we're talking with Mayor Mike Kalivas, and we're going to be talking about an update on the budget process, because I understand that the budget has now been passed. So let's talk with the mayor. Good afternoon. How are you?
Very well, thanks. Very well. Thank you very much for having me on the show again.
Oh, thank you for allowing us to sit down with you today. So we know that the budget has been passed, correct?
It has,
okay.
Yes.
So that's some of the things that I'd like to talk about today, as well as I'd like to start off with potholes. Are you people getting calls about these large potholes?
We certainly are getting calls about the potholes. I mean, that happens every year. It was always one of those things. I remember a long time ago as a kid always talking about the city of Brockville when they had the sign saying a city of 1,000 islands, but there was also a city of 1,000 potholes as well too. So it's been an exceptional winter this year. There's no doubt about it. With regard to when you see rain in January and then freezing and minus 30 and then going back up in temperatures again. It's been very, very tough on our roads, and it's obviously showing. Potholes have come up in great numbers. Certainly, staff are doing the very best they can to patch them up as fast as they're coming up. But they do have a tendency to move on very quickly and accumulate. So certainly, again, it was just raining the other day again all day. So that's a challenge, in these type of environment. But certainly, staff are doing their best, absolute best, in order for them to patch them up. And then we assess during the rest of the year and decide whether or not those potholes are leading to something else that we need to the engineers and the road superintendents, that they look at it to say whether or not maybe this could be one of those years where that road needs to get redone.
Yes.
Take a look at all those things, and but right now it's trying to keep ahead of those potholes.
Keep ahead of the potholes. I understand that the River Route pilot project has come to an end, or do you think it will continue?
Well, certainly, as far as the city of Brockville is concerned, we look at it as as we are a service provider for the service, and it's up to the municipalities that want the service to fund it. So we've so far we've brought in a bus and a driver, and but we've commissioned staff to take a look at those costs. And they are going to be talking to the municipalities that are driving this initiative, in order that we can explain that our costs need to be covered, and if they're prepared to do that, then we'll continue the service. So it's certainly, the ball is in their court right now, and we're waiting to hear from all the municipalities. We have heard from some that say they're willing to go, so we want to make sure it's obviously unanimous that they're comfortable with that service. Certainly, as the only municipality that actually has a bus service, certainly we're willing to partner with the municipalities. We're always looking for the ability to do that, and one partnership can always lead to another partnership. So we're willing to do that at this particular time. So we're hoping that it works. If not, then well, maybe it'll be something else another time.
But it has been beneficial, has it not?
Well, it's been beneficial to those that are riding the bus.
Yes,
I wouldn't necessarily say that it's been it's really not a money maker by any stretch of the imagination, and it doesn't really necessarily cover the costs of the ridership that's been taking it, using that service. So obviously the municipalities are having to put in the extra funds. So if they deem that that's something that they want to do to provide the service to their constituents, to get to their jobs in the mornings, and that's something that they'll have to deal with in their individual councils. We'll just wait and see.
Yes. Okay, let's talk about some budget items. St. Lawrence Lodge. Some people have said to me, they're outside of the city limits. Why are we funding them? Do you want to answer
Well,
that,
to
please?
be honest with you now, just for
Yes,
clarification,
please.
the St. Lawrence Lodge and the Water Pollution Control Plant are now both in the
Side.
city of Brockville.
Okay.
So now the St. Lawrence Lodge is owned by Brockville, it's owned by Prescott, it's owned by Gananoque, and it's owned by the United Counties of Leeds Grenville. So each are proportioned their own share of the costs as they're pertaining to usage of the lodge. In other words, the residents that are taking part using the facility. Brockville obviously has the greatest share. We're probably around I would say pretty close to the 63% of the facility are Brockvillians. So we bear the greatest share of the not only the residents that are in the lodge, but also the cost of that facility as well. Long-term care is an initiative that was brought to us many years ago by the province of Ontario, that each municipality had to participate in long-term care. We feel that St. Lawrence Lodge certainly is a very valuable service for our elderly, and not necessarily always just elderly too. You'd be surprised sometimes that there are others that are younger that need the facility too as well. But in the most part, it is for the elderly. I consider it to be an absolute essential service, and we do fund it, and we and probably this year, I think our budget would probably stay probably about 1.4, almost 1.5 million dollars coming from just the city of Brockville alone.
Yes.
Towards that operating. Now, when you think about that, so in total, 1.4. With the rest of the municipalities, including the counties, Prescott and Gananoque, probably somewhere in the neighborhood of about $2.5 million. But the actual facility itself is probably running on about a $17 million budget a year. So the rest of that comes from revenue that they collect from the residents, and that's a good share, but the majority lion's share comes from the provincial government.
Yes.
And funding the facility as well too. So,
thank you for that explanation. That's really,
there's a lot of people that work down there too. People don't understand.
Yes,
There's like 250 people that work there.
So it's amazing. It is. Yeah. Okay, thank you for that clarification. Another question that I was given was the Frontenac Arch Viosphere. They were granted $5,800. But yet, the person said to me, "Well, they're outside of Brockville."
Yeah.
Why are we doing it?
Then the name certainly is not really indicative of what the service is all about. Marshlands and just reserve. Talking about just lands itself and how talking about water, marshes, that sort of thing. They are guardians of those particular types of lands. Certainly the waterfront, the St. Lawrence River, all of those things. So it's not just because it says Frontenac; it comes right into Brockville as well too. So it's for us, it's money that we felt is necessary in order to keep that organization moving forward, and we certainly didn't have a problem doing that.
Great. Alrighty. Some viewers may not be aware that there actually is an asset management plan that I believe it's X number of years long, and I would think that you would probably consult it every year. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Our asset management plan is something that we review annually, and probably, as far as department heads, they probably review it daily. But certainly, it's one that it's important because of the number of assets that the city of Brockville has, in order to ensure that we have a are able to maintain, not only just to maintain the assets we have, but necessarily to replace them. So there needs to be plans for replacement. There needs to be plans for repair, or whatever the case may be. So, you know, there's buildings, there's equipment. It goes, it's on and on and on.
Mm-hmm.
It's a multi-million dollar situation, a plan that in you know, in any organization of this size, it has to be done. So
Yes.
we do use it.
Good. Okay. Moving on. Tiny houses. You and I talked last time. We had an interview about tiny houses and the possibility of them going in the north end somewhere. And since then, there seems to have been a lot of objection. In other words, I don't want it in my backyard type of thing.
Yeah.
So do you believe that some of the residents may not understand what the purpose of a tiny home is, that it's not the homeless that are being housed there, that these are actually smaller homes that are purchased just like a homeowner, and you know, they actually maintain the residence as a normal residence. And I just wonder if people do or do not understand what a tiny home is.
Well, I wish I could have you, Doreen, come and do that exact explanation, because that's exactly it. Now, you know, fairness too, we were talking about in the north end where we were. One of the examples for that property was that there was a community garden in there, and that kind of drew the ire of residents as well. You know, understandable. So certainly, you know, council does listen.
Yes.
And you know, and so when, you know, a number of people have concerns, we certainly did listen. We've taken that back to staff now. And you know, we're looking at other alternatives, and I'm sure that we will, you know, we'll bring forward some options that'll be better suited for the situation, and we look forward to being able to help that out.
One last question on the budget process. When individuals or organizations put forth a request for funding, do they have to be a registered group, or can they be a non-registered, non-for-profit group?
No, they can be. They don't have to be a nonprofit group. Any organization can approach council to look for funding. We certainly weigh every ask, and we, you know, we prioritize it as best we can, and you know, it goes into the budget process. As you know, we've had lots of debate about many issues. Sometimes, you know, so we have debate over issues for docks for $2 million or $1.5 million, and we have debate over issues for $3,000 as well too. So they're all judged on their merit, and we, you know, we try to do the very best we can. At the end of the day, there's always not a lot of dollars left over to, as I've said before, we stretch it as thin as we can and try to you know, support as many organizations as we can. But at the end of the day, sometimes some people just
doesn't happen.
It just doesn't work. It doesn't happen.
Last question. City of Brockville Legacy Fund. I understand that now is the time for organizations to apply for this.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think the deadline is Friday, April the 15th.
I believe so, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
so,
the amount is in the area about 8,000 plus?
Yes. Yeah. So again, as you can see with the amount of money that we're talking about, it's going to be a challenge, but you know, it's that bit of interest that was generated, and we're obligated to put that out. We didn't do that in another year because we're just waiting for it to grow a little bit further. So here is the amount, and you know, we bring in the applications, they come in, and we do again, just do the very best we can to try to help as many organizations as we can and judge them all on the merit that we feel. It's an individual group too. I mean, there are a couple of counselors on it, but there are also some citizens on the committee as well too. So, and you know what, we'll hand that money out as best we can.
That's great. That's great. Thank you ever so much for talking with me today. Really do appreciate it. And
Thank you.
Till next time,
Yep.
when we have a chance to sit down and talk about something else. So I do thank you, Mayor. I appreciate that.